Hello YouTubers, this is Z Elder here. I just wanted to follow up on a video I made last week. And today, I want to talk about your winter training. I made a video earlier about periodization, and I made a video about being a dynamic rider and increasing your cadence and all of that. And I just felt compelled to make this video today as a follow-up to focus on letting all of you know this is the winter, and this is winter training. Winter training is different. If you're going to do something new, you know, like the videos I made, I talked about increasing your leg speed using speed drills. Now's the time to do something new. In the winter is when you want to introduce new things into your training program. You don't want to wait till in season to start doing something new, because it can wreak havoc on your plan. So, winter training is different than in-season training in that you're not supposed to be pushing yourself too hard. You don't want to be burned out come January. So during the winter is when you keep a similar cycle, but you drop the volume. So if you've been riding, say, 12 hours during the season, or some people ride more, let's say you've been doing 20 hours, cut it to 10. You've been riding 12, maybe 6 or 7 a week. Spend more time doing the other things that you've been missing out on. Spend more time with your family. Now, if you go out and you ride, like down here in Houston, we don't have to worry about the roads being covered with snow, so the roads are always open. But if you still enjoy riding and you want to do more, by all means do that. The reason I started out talking about cutting it in half is, if you had a full season where you did a lot of racing and you went all over the place, you traveled, and you're feeling a little tired of it, after the rest cycle in October, November and December, you don't want to ramp back up to the full load that you did in season. You want to do about half of it. So, you know, I'm stating that so that you don't feel like you're missing out on anything. But if you plan to do 6 hours and you go out there and you're feeling good, by all means, do a little more. If it doesn't interfere with you and it doesn't cause you to get sick of riding. Because, you know, you don't want to be tired of riding when it's time for you to really start ramping up your training. So, don't feel pressure during winter training, which is mostly done November and December. Don't feel like you've got to be doing your full load. You know, use this time, cut down the duration, and focus on maybe your weaknesses. You can go to the gym, you can do calisthenics, you can do other things if you want to throw them in. But if riding the bike is what you want to do, by all means do that. But use this time to work on muscular endurance and also work on areas that you feel you're lacking in. So for example, this is not the time to start working on the serious climbing and so forth. It doesn't mean that you don't do your sprints like you would usually do on, like, say, Tuesday. You know, because the weekly cycle, normally Mondays are usually recommended as a rest day, because the cycling calendar says mostly Saturday and Sunday are when you have the time to ride the most. It's when they have races and so forth. The cycling calendar usually runs from Monday to Sunday. So, Monday is usually a day, you've been racing all weekend or riding all weekend, usually you take the day off. A lot of times you're traveling to work, or, you know, it's been a long weekend, and if you do ride, it's just easy to kind of keep yourself loose. So, you keep that same rhythm, but you drop the duration and you drop the intensity. You don't want to go cross-eyed, you're not going zone 5 full gas. You're just trying to basically maintain the fitness that you had all season, so you don't lose too much these 2 months. So we call it base training for people who really are new to the sport or been off for a while. If you've been injured or sick or something came up and you couldn't ride before this time, this is a good time to get back into the sport by doing your steady base training. But if nothing interfered with your training the year before, you want to maintain the fitness that you worked so hard for this year through the winter. And how you maintain that is, you don't have to do your full 12, 15, whatever hours you were doing. But if you have the time and you're not sick of it, yeah, do as much as you can. But your goal should be cut the duration in half and go out and ride, mostly zone 2, sometimes zone 3. But what you're trying to do now is focusing on what areas do I need to add to my arsenal. Meaning, if you're lacking a little bit of leg speed, you can throw in a few sections where you drop the gear down, you spin up, or you pick a day in a week, because you could do the speed work on Tuesday when you focus on increasing your cadence. You're not going into zone 5. Zone 3, moderate gear, just teaching your body to do something you may not have been very good at. Whatever happened during the season that you found was lacking, now's a good time to start working on those areas. If climbing was a weakness, yeah, you could throw in some climbs. I mean, most of the routes I'm on, we hit climbs. Nobody's saying to avoid climbs, but don't kill yourself. There'll be plenty of time to hammer those hills later when you're really ready to go, to ramp it up. Now's the time to enjoy the climb, ease into it. Hit zone 3. Even if you get to zone 4, that's okay. But let the climb do it. Don't fight it. Don't force it. You're not attacking anybody. If you do hook up with a group, sit in more. Don't become a champion in November and December. Let the other guys burn themselves out. Sit in the draft. Don't even feel like you have to pull if you're riding with a group that's going too fast. And if you're in the draft and they're just going so hard to where you're going into, say, above zone 4 and you don't want to do that, let them go. But for the most part, depending on which group you hook up with, you should be able to sit in the draft and stay in zone 3. You don't need to go with attacks. But if you're riding with the group and you feel like you want to attack, do it. Everything in cycling is a caveat. The suggestions are based on this is an opportune time of year for you to rest if you need it, meaning mentally and physically. So if you're getting a little sick of all the hammering and all of that, you rest so that you're fresh. So when it's time to go hard, you can be eager. But if you're okay and you're not sick of it and you want to do it and you're excited about it, by all means, it won't hurt anything. You just need to know that you don't have to do it. You can kind of let it go for now because there'll be plenty of time later to do it. And so I kind of wanted to focus on that. So the winter training is get out, ride your bike, follow the same cycle, but don't feel like you've got to do the hours. You can start mixing other sports into it. You can go to the gym, you can swim, you can do whatever else, and also ride the bike. But if you just love being out on the bike, knock yourself out. If you got a mountain bike, you can put that in. Cyclocross, you can do that. Now's the time to do cross training. You can run if the weather's bad. If you don't want to be stuck on a trainer. So you can maintain your fitness, but it doesn't have to be on the bike. For me, most of the winter, I just use the bike. I just don't use it as much. I drop the duration and I just ride. So it's something to consider because you got a long season ahead depending on where your goals are. If you plan on doing a lot of racing, you don't want to be racing in November and December. Now is not the time. Now is the time to work on areas that are not your strong points and making sure that you improve them. And then come into January, you consolidate them. So if you're lacking a bit of strength, you do some big gear intervals at about 50 to 60 RPMs, say about 5 minutes. And then in an off interval, get in the little gears, get back up to your optimal cadence. It's like weight training on the bike. You identify what you need to work on and use this time to work on it. And then in February and March, you blend everything in. You take that strength that you develop and blend it in with your cadence from your speed drills, and boom, before you know it, you're turning bigger gears in comfort. So you keep that in mind. I just wanted to cover those areas today. So be safe out on the road, and thanks for tuning in.